Wicked, starring Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, is taking over the world right now. The hype around this film is huge, and it's no surprise. From Broadway to the big screen, the story of Oz continues to captivate audiences generation after generation. So I thought, why not go back to where it all started with The Wizard of Oz? So back in 1938, MGM was looking to create a film that would appeal to both children and adults. Inspired by the recent success of Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, MGM head Louis B. Mayer wanted his own family classic. Alf Frank Baum's 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, seemed like the perfect choice for a Technicolor adventure. Interestingly, though, this wasn't the first time people tried to bring Oz to the big screen. Silent film adaptations had been made, including one made by Baum himself in 1908. But this time, MGM had Hollywood's golden era resources, and they wanted to make Oz a cinematic wonderland. The screenplay was a struggle from the very beginning. Multiple writers, including Herman J. Mankiewicz, Noel Langley, Florence Ryerson, and Edgar Allan Wolfe, all took turns drafting and revising it. Early drafts of the script aimed for a more whimsical tone, but under Mayer's direction, it was reshaped to include stronger, emotionally resonant themes. Mayer wanted Dorothy's journey to appeal to children while also capturing adult viewers through themes of courage, home, and self-discovery. Certain changes were made that would have seemed small at the time, but would later become extremely iconic. The song Over the Rainbow was nearly cut during test screenings because some felt it slowed down the pacing. Imagine Wizard of Oz without Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's like imagining Australia without Vegemite. It's just not right. We can't talk about Somewhere Over the Rainbow without talking about Dorothy, and finding Dorothy was no easy task. Initially, the role was given to Shirley Temple, who was the biggest child star in Hollywood at the time. However, Judy Garland ultimately won the role, and her casting transformed the character. Instead of a blonde, innocent young girl, Garland brought a depth to Dorothy that made her more relatable to audiences. At just 16, Garland's performance would become legendary, partly because of her vulnerability and partly due to her remarkable singing talent that really completely transcended her age. How was she just 16 singing those songs with such depth? I literally cry every time I hear Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It just gets to me. So we have our Dorothy, now we have the production of Wizard of Oz, and much like the screenplay, and much like Finding Dorothy, the production of Wizard of Oz faced endless challenges, from the endless rewrites to ever-changing directors. The project originally started in 1938 with Richard Thorpe as director. Thorpe was known for his efficiency, and MGM thought his experience would keep production on track. But Thorpe's approach wasn't quite right for Oz. He initially directed Judy Garland in a blonde wig and doll-like makeup, giving Dorothy a Hollywood glamorous look. Executives quickly felt that his approach missed the heartfelt simplicity that they had wanted for Dorothy. And just 2 weeks into filming, Thorpe was replaced and nearly all of his footage was scrapped. That's when George Cukor stepped in as creative advisor. Cukor wasn't on set long, but he made critical changes, especially to Dorothy's appearance. He removed the wig and makeup, giving Dorothy her iconic farm girl look, and Garland's natural brunette hair and simple makeup. Once Cukor had done his job, refined the film's tone and visual style, he left to work on another 1939 classic, Gone with the Wind. Something to discuss later. I think 1939, I'm not the only person, this isn't like a big revelation, but 1939 is the best year for Hollywood films. Like Gone with the Wind, Wizard of Oz, Wuthering Heights, my favourite movie. After George Cukor left, we have Victor Fleming, and he would ultimately oversee most of the film. Known for his straightforward, no-nonsense directing style, Fleming brought structure and stability to the chaotic set. He shot the majority of the film, including iconic scenes like Dorothy's arrival in Oz, her journey along the Yellow Brick Road, and the climactic confrontation with the Wicked Witch. Fleming's dedication to pushing MGM's new Technicolor technology added a whole new dimension to Oz, contrasting the vibrant fantasy world with the sepia-toned Kansas. Near the end of filming, Fleming was pulled off Oz to replace George Cukor on Gone with the Wind, and King Vidor stepped in to finish the remaining scenes. He took on most of the sepia-toned Kansas sequences, including one of the most iconic moments in Hollywood history, Judy Garland's performance of Over the Rainbow. While Victor Fleming is credited as the main director of The Wizard of Oz, it's the work of all four directors, Thorpe, Cukor, Fleming, and Vidor, that contributed to The Wizard of Oz layered storytelling and atmosphere. One of the most captivating parts of The Wizard of Oz is the portrayal of good and evil through its two iconic witches, Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, and the Wicked Witch of the West. Each of these characters represents different themes, and their interpretations by Billy Burke and Margaret Hamilton have made them unforgettable. So let's start with Glinda, played by Billy Burke, whose performance brought a graceful, almost otherworldly kindness to the character. Burke was 54 at the time of filming, which is crazy to me, and her experience in theatre and film lent her a natural elegance that made Glinda's goodness feel really genuine. Her portrayal struck the right balance between warmth and wisdom, helping Dorothy and the audience feel safe in the often strange and magical world of Oz. Then, on the opposite end of the spectrum, there's the Wicked Witch of the West, played by Margaret Hamilton. Hamilton's portrayal of the Wicked Witch is still one of the most iconic villains in cinema. But interestingly, this character wasn't always intended to be so terrifying. Early drafts of the script envisioned the Wicked Witch as a glamorous, even seductive villain, more in line with Disney's Evil Queen in Snow White. However, once Hamilton was cast, she brought a completely different energy into the role, one that leaned more into fear and intimidation rather than sexy allure. Can't say that word. Allure. And it totally works. I'm keeping it. Thank you, Margaret. The Wicked Witch is everything a young viewer might fear. Cunning, ruthless, and relentlessly driven by vengeance. Her iconic green makeup became her visual trademark, symbolizing both her otherworldly origins and her inherent danger. She's high-pitched cackle, imposing demeanor, and fierce loyalty to her deceased sister, the Wicked Witch of the East, whom Dorothy had inadvertently killed with her house, added layers to her character. Witch's visual design was meticulous too. Her costume was dark and severe, with long, jagged black robes that made her movements dramatic and intimidating. Her pointed black hat, sharp facial features, and broomstick, all rooted in classic witch imagery, added a new layer of menace, making her the quintessential witch for generations to come. The imagery of the Wicked Witch became so iconic that it has shaped how popular culture visualizes witches to this day. Think about a witch and you'll think about the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz, which didn't exist before The Wizard of Oz. Oz's influence has since permeated pop culture, from Judy Garland's iconic songs to phrases like "There's no place like home." This film has influenced everything from music to fashion, and even inspired alternate interpretations like The Wiz and, of course, Wicked. Wicked reimagined Oz from a different viewpoint. Gregory Maguire's novel, and subsequently the musical and movie, delves into the backstory of Elphaba, the Wicked Witch. In Wicked, we see a reimagining of these characters that brings out the complexities of good and evil. Elphaba is no longer simply wicked. Instead, she's a misunderstood and idealistic young woman facing prejudice and rejection. The reimagining of Glinda, too, adds depth. She's not just pure good, but she's also flawed, ambitious, and even a little bit superficial, making her more relatable and human. Now with the film Wicked being released, we're seeing Oz through whole new, fresh, young eyes, and it's introducing a whole new generation to the world of Oz. My friend's 7-year-old niece the other day watched The Wizard of Oz for the first time, and that's just, I think, so cool. The legacy of The Wizard of Oz is unmatched. Its use of colour, groundbreaking special effects, and the universal themes have made it a timeless piece of cinema. Even today, filmmakers, musicians, artists continue to draw inspiration from these characters. And Wicked is keeping Oz alive forevermore. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the land of Oz. If you're excited and have seen the new Wicked movie, or if The Wizard of Oz holds a special place in your heart, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into Hollywoodland. And remember, there's no place like home.